चले हैं कहाँ, ये राहें समझाए नई दास्तां, हम देखें न देखें ख्वाब यहाँ, हम जाने न जाने इस दिल की जुबान. Oh, ba-da-da-dum-de, dum-de, ba-da-da-dum-de, dum-de, ba-da-da-dum-de, dum-dum-da-dum-dum-dum. Natasha को अभी हमने सुना है. Natasha Humera Ejaz is with us today and we're going to talk to you. Natasha, सबसे पहले तो मुझे ये बताओ, Natasha Humera Ejaz, ये नाम पेरेंट्स ने पूरा ऐसे लंबा रखा था या ये आगे जाके आपकी थॉट से कुछ आया है? So let's start with your name now.
Thank you. First off, it's lovely being here.
Thank you.
I love this setup. I think it's incredible. It excites me a lot when I see just artist commune. So
Okay.
big up District 19 and big up Demo. This is fantastic. Natasha Humera Ejaz. I was born Natasha Ejaz.
Okay.
And I was around 15 when I realized that this is what I want to do with my life, which is
Okay.
become an artist and a musician. And I thought इसके साथ थोड़ी थोड़ी फेम आती है हमेशा. कभी कभी like no लोग आपका नाम जानना शुरू हो जाते हैं. और हम बड़े हुए थे एक like mostly like a single parent family. My mother did pretty much everything to bring us to this point.
Okay.
And I thought it was wholly unfair. Like, I love my father, and I have huge respect for the part of him that is inside me. But I also realized that, like, we're never known by our maternal names. We're
Yeah.
never really, we represent our father's names and our, you know, that kind of whole thing. But for someone who's been brought up mostly by just their mom, and to get even thodi si izzat with your naam, I was like, her name needs to be attached there somehow. So I'm officially still Natasha Ejaz
Okay.
for all like you know, governmental purposes. But when it comes to just the music, I felt like I'm a total amalgamation of my mother and my father, and I just wanted to live that and own it,
Oh,
which is why
that's
I
lovely.
inserted a middle name without asking anybody. I just started putting
That's
Humera
great.
in there.
That's you. That's you.
That's-
बल्कि अभी तुमने बोला है कि we're not really known by our maternal, but recently मैं ID card या किसी credit card के किसी के लिए बैंक के लिए when I call and they do a verification, just recently I noticed they ask the mother's name, not the
Not the
father's
father's
name.
interesting, है ना?
And अभी आपने बोला है तो
Yeah.
मुझे भी ये thought आई है कि that time also I was like, okay, you know, father का नाम क्यों बोलेंगे? And but no, it's been 2-3 times, and and you also just said that, so it's good. So women are coming up.
I just feel like we each of us are like, हम अपने माँ बाप दोनों के बच्चे होते हैं
बिल्कुल.
और उसको साथ लेके चलना
All
चाहिए.
right. So Natasha, कुछ अपने बारे में, अब आपने अपनी family से start किया है. So in your family, I see your brothers here with you today.
Yeah.
One of your brothers is like with you. So how many siblings are you?
We are 4 in total. I'm the youngest of 4.
Ah, okay.
And I am the brattiest.
Okay.
And I'm the loudest.
Okay.
And I'm the most annoying.
Loudest, so we know. We just heard you.
But yeah, we're a family. We're 4 siblings, and pretty much everyone in the family is an artist in one shape or form or the other. My brother is an illustrator.
All
My
right.
eldest brother is also a photographer, and my sister is a scientist, actually, which is an art in itself.
Wow.
So
Talented family.
we're pretty much about following our passions.
Great.
And we were very lucky with our parenting. They were very encouraging from the start. मैं 3 साल की उम्र से गा रही हूँ.
अच्छा.
और 3 साल की उम्र से मेरी माँ मुझे like गाने बताती थी
बताती
कि
थी.
अब ये सीखो, अब ये सीखो. पहला गाना अम्मा ने मुझे सिखाया था. अच्छा, मैं 4 साल की हूँ ना, 4-5 साल की. And I'm singing things like ओ बसंती पवन पागल ना जा रे ना जा रोको कोई ओ बसंती So mom used to like give me all these singing projects to do when I was growing up. And
और
there was
इसका
this
मीनिंग भी नहीं तब पता होगा
नहीं
बसंती
नहीं बस
कौन
ये
है
हाँ
ओ
कौन
कहाँ है
बसंती पवन क्या
क्या?
पागल कौन कुछ भी नहीं पता था बस पता था कि नोट्स हिट करने हैं
Oh
और
Lord.
वो एक अम्मा मुझे सिखाते शुरू में सिखाया था it went like यूं हसरतों के दाग मोहब्बत में धो दिए खुद दिल से दिल की बात कही और रो दिए यूं हसरतों के दाग this used to be like my training growing
So
up.
ये वाली जो ट्रेनिंग है जो आपकी मदर ने आपके साथ जो गा के small and bits and pieces, is this then this is the reason then you wanted to write on your own? You said, okay, I'll write the song
So
because you're a songwriter, yeah?
Bilkul. I started writing songs really early also. I mean the main motivation I can remember when I was young was there was I was in Beacon House and there was a talent competition and everyone's like you've got to sing. And मैंने नया गिटार सीखना शुरू किया था कुछ 14-15 पे
अच्छा 14-15 पे
14-15 पे सीखना शुरू किया था और मुझे बस चुल चढ़ी मैंने कहा मैं एक्चुअली पता है हाँ दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग आई सैट डाउन टू कवर आँखों को आँखों ने जो सपना दिखाया है आई सैट डाउन टू कवर दैट एंड द ओनली पार्ट of that performance that I used that was that lyric उसके अलावा पूरा गाना मैंने नया लिखा खुद ही
उसके बाद
and I was just like शुरू से मुझे था कि I want to be known but I'd rather be known by my own work rather than like emulating other people even though I've learned so much by emulating other people but I feel like everything sort of is a marriage between everything else and I really loved the idea of just creating my own stories and creating my own songs and that song I turned it into आँखों को आँखों ने जो सपना दिखाया था सपना टूट जाए ना दिल के अंधेरों में रोशनी आई थी सूरज बुझ जाए ना that was the first song I wrote so it was pretty early I really and now also that I've grown up I really like being a storyteller and in order to tell stories I think pretty early on I was writing songs to tell those stories and they were all like some of my early work is pretty much just like a grand exploration of the imagination that's all I really enjoyed doing abhi bhi I don't follow news as much as most people normally would I don't follow a lot of things I stay within my own bubble of my own imagination because I mean it's just a better world I like my universe better
I'm sure it is okay but staying in the bubble and you being a storyteller and a songwriter wouldn't you be more like out there अगर बाहर जाके दुनिया करके and go out of your comfort zone and see and more inspiration so staying in your bubble में inspiration कहाँ से तुम्हारे पास आती है
good question my idea of staying in my bubble is very much just being forced to remain in a creative zone for 24 hours my inspiration comes from actually, I mean, interestingly enough, my inspiration comes from other people's stories and my own story and life and how the universe functions. So I do tend to input some of the outside world, but I curate it very finely. And I'm a huge student of life.
All right.
So I've spent my entire life training. I still train. I still train my voice. I still train dance. I still train acting. I allow the universe to send me teachers and once I have found trust in a teacher like I just sort of allow myself to swim with the tide that
go with the flow
whatever the universe is sending to me I have to
just take it by the ear कि अच्छा भी आ रहा है okay I'll just play it around जो आ रहा है वो बेहतरी के लिए होगा
exactly I mean
everything happens for a reason
and I honestly feel like you don't have control in life and the control that you have in life is how you wake up and how you go to sleep and how you speak to people in the middle of your day and how you decide to have what your perception of your 24 hours and your moment is.
I
और
know,
मेरे लिए
even when we were sitting outside, you did talk. I overheard you. You said, "I want to make my 24 hours worth it." This was seriously so inspiring for me to listen. I was like, "Oh my God, मैं क्या कर रही हूँ?" You know, like सुबह उठूँगी तो मैं अपने लिए क्या कर रही हूँ और मैं रात को जब सोऊंगी तो मैं सोचूंगी मैंने क्या किया है. So you know, this thought, I guess this is the thought that you're talking about, that in the night when you go off to bed, you'll be like, wow, I did something good.
yesterday Bisconi got released
Okay.
and I spent the पहले 7-8 घंटे I was like, okay, post, repost, okay, tag, post, repost, tag, you know, doing the social media thing. And then at night, once everything was done and like really you can't do anything more to push content, I literally just danced. I just danced. I danced for like, and the funny thing is I danced in the bathroom.
Okay.
दरवाज़ा लॉक करके, बाथरूम थोड़ा बड़ा सा था, शीशे थे 2-3, मैंने दरवाज़ा लॉक किया, मैंने गाने लगाए और मैं बस नाचना शुरू हो गई और उसने फाइनली मुझे सुलाया है कि just you've got to love your moments, man. You've got to love your moments. You've got to love
enjoy your moments, live in the moment, which sadly, even I'm part of it, you know, you don't get to do it because you're so much into social media. You like, oh, comments क्या आया है, मैंने Bisconi जब आपने डाला होगा, you'll be like, oh God, किसने comments आए, कितने views आए, क्या, and end of the day you're like, give it, just forget it. I just wanna, you know, live into the moment.
मतलब it was really nice following it. Honestly, like the numbers game is something you have to play,
Yes,
and so I've even like accepted that's part of my 24 hours. Enjoy.
तो डांस भी तो एक सेलिब्रेशन भी तो वही थी, उन नंबर्स की तो थी. End of the day, it all comes back to social media.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. अच्छा, anyways, okay, अब बताओ कि फेम जब पहली दफ़ा कुछ ऐसा हिट हुआ कि oh, my songs are out there. What was that feeling? When did that happen?
I think the major one was Youth Records.
Okay.
First time.
And that was almost
that was like about 11 years
11
ago.
years ago.
12 years ago, I think.
Okay.
2011.
11. और ये कौन सा song?
I was Right Way to Fall.
Right Way to Fall. Okay.
That was I came from college. I was studying at the time. I was studying in Malaysia.
Okay.
And I sent in my demo. I got selected. They flew me in. They did the episode, and then I literally just did the episode and went back to college. And I got to college, and I've blown up in my own country. And I'm just like, what is happening? It's really, really remarkable how empowering it is. Because Right Way to Fall was a huge risk. अब तो फिर भी बहुत सारा अंग्रेजी म्यूजिक निकल रहा है, पाकिस्तानी निकाल रहे हैं. उस ज़माने में शायद मैं और साजिद और ज़ीशान थे और शायद अरूज आफ्ताब थी, जो 3 अंग्रेजी लोग मतलब weren't shy of doing English music. And big props to Umran Shafiq and massive props to Gumby, because they had, even back then I had the option of an Urdu song also. Okay. But they were just like, this song. This song's gonna be a hit, so we want this song. And it was I've really enjoyed breaking conventions. That's been my whole career.
Great.
My whole career is like, I get into the industry, someone says you can't do this, I'm like, well, actually you can, and I'm gonna show you how.
Yeah.
And it's just been one after the other. I think the next massive one was the love I got after Alayar.
Acha.
And the love I got after my album, which was Till the End of Time.
Okay.
These 2 experiences were really incredible. And I think I still reel from the fact that, is it really like, is this really my work? Is this really my words? Are people really enjoying this? I got called to do an orchestral show in Oslo a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I thought that, you know, they'd give me compositions to sing. But it turns out they literally just wanted 2 of my compositions.
And you were there to voice it out also? Or?
Absolutely. So I got flown in to do this like 30-piece orchestral gig with my music, and like I'm standing there on a vocoder. And it's super nerve-wracking, but ek dafa main stage pe pahunchi na, I was like, this is where I belong. This is like, I really don't care what people think at this point.
Yeah.
I just know that the stage is where I feel like I'm completely 110% myself.
And you own it at that
and
time. Yeah.
well, once you're
Yeah,
in the moment,
yeah.
then it's, I don't even think it's about ownership. I think
Yeah.
at that point it's just that you're living what your destiny is, and you're living what you're meant to be doing, and it's a
Okay.
really special feeling.
I'm
And
sure.
I hope everybody gets to feel that moment for themselves in their life somehow or the other.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Abhi, as you said that you went out there and people say, "Ye tum kya karoge?" And you said, "I can." So the other question that was coming in my mind, being a female and in the music industry or being in the industry, um, what are the challenges? What have you faced? Or you've not faced anything?
Again, I think I will say I've been very lucky. The challenges that I faced initially, and even to some degree right now, have very little to do with me being a woman,
Okay.
and have much more to do with just the arts and what that means in Pakistan.
Okay. All right.
Because
I'm sorry to cut you, but physique wise तुम छोटी सी लगती हो, you don't even look your age, so like अरे यार ये तुम क्या यार, एक तो लड़की ऊपर से छोटी सी, ये क्या गाएगी और ये क्या करेगी और हट आप जरा साइड पे हो, बैठे बैठे हम आपको बाद में see करते stuff like that. I don't know if that's something that happened with you.
होता था, बहुत होता था, लेकिन फिर माइक पे जाने की देर होती है और फिर सब आप फिर वही लोग कहते हैं
सबके कान आंखें
इतनी
सब
छोटी सी ये आवाज़ कहाँ से निकली. इंजीनियरिंग और प्रोडक्शन को लेके थोड़ा सा इनिशियली ज़्यादा हुआ था, लाइक साउंड वाले बात नहीं सुनते थे, क्योंकि
अच्छा.
मैं पढ़ के कॉलेज से प्रोडक्शन आई हूँ.
Okay.
So by education, I'm a sound engineer. So I do
Okay.
live sound and I produce music and I'm a recording engineer. So initially, I think the challenges were to get someone to allow me to touch the buttons on the board.
Okay.
Like they're like, ये बच्ची है, इसको क्या पता होगा, नहीं इस knob को नहीं छेड़ना, नहीं इस fader को नहीं छेड़ना, and I'm just staring at them going like,
मैं पढ़ के आई हूँ, मुझे पता है.
yeah, just let me do this. So initially when I came back to Pakistan, I had recognized, मैं समझ रही थी कि मैं I would become an FOH engineer. Interestingly enough, I didn't.
Okay.
I was like double-sided. I was like, I'll do music, but I'll also do engineering, because I really I love doing live sound. Like, you put me behind a board and give me a great band to work with, and I'm like on seventh heaven.
Wow.
But those plans quickly changed, with the exception of maybe, like, again, I will say Gumbi and Umran and Hania Aslam and a couple of other really like forward-thinking people. No, they were just, I was the only woman doing it. So there was a lot of trepidation, there was a lot of misunderstanding. लेकिन मैं ये कह सकती हूँ, काम करने की देर होती है. आप अपना सर नीचे करो, आप काम करते रहो, और
put it out there, people will know.
हाँ, मतलब देखिए, you have to be two of three things for people to want to work with you. You have to be good at your work, or you have to be on time. You have to be on time, or easy to work with, or you have to be easy to work with and good at your work. You have to have a combination of these things. And I felt I wanted to spend less time trying to prove to people that I deserve fame or a name or anything like that, because it's very easy to just like create a social media presence and make sure that everyone knows you through that. हाँ,
put your head down
exactly. मैंने फिर ये notice किया कि अगर आपने इंडस्ट्री में, अगर इंडस्ट्री भी नहीं कहेंगे अभी तक, पाकिस्तान में तो फ्रेटर्निटी है हमारी, कोई प्रॉपरली अब इस्टेब्लिश होनी शुरू हुई है इंडस्ट्री. लेकिन फ्रेटर्निटी में अगर दो लोग भी हैं ना जो that have enjoyed working with you and that sort of understand the value of what you bring to the table, even if it's not you fitting into a cookie cutter box. But the value that I believe I bring to the table when I work with someone is that I'm incredibly passionate and I really love what I do. And if I pick up a project, then I'm 130% in that project. And I think the more that Kam log bhi recognize that, like Sarmat Ghafoor, for instance, I do regular work with him. Shuja Haider, I do regular work with him. Abbas Ali Khan, regular work. Hania Aslam, regular work. These are awesome people and they're fantastic artists, and they allow me to record them, and they allow me to mix them, and they allow me to do. So like आपको 4 लोगों से भी इज्जत मिल जाए मेरे लिए वो काफ़ी है, because that just means कि मैं, again, it's about your 24 hours, right?
Yes.
So I get to wake up, I get to do the job that I love, and जो होगा देखा जाएगा.
बिल्कुल, perfect. Okay. So Coke Studio का थोड़ा सा, you've worked with Coke Studio and अभी आपने Bisconi भी किया, so what was the experience?
So CS I haven't actually done. CS, I've done CS gigs.
Okay.
I've done the live shows that they do back in the day, and I this year was helping some producers make demos. So again, engineering role.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
I went in and recorded a bunch of artists in
Okay.
Islamabad for the demos that we were pitching this year. But Bisconi was incredible. Bisconi was it was a lovely chance in the middle of a lockdown to put your mind and heart into writing a new song, which is what we did.
Okay.
I got paired up with a very very talented songwriter. His name is Sinan Fazwani. And हमने पहले भी काम किया हुआ इकट्ठे. We wrote a song together that will be coming out in Feb, which I've sung with another artist. So we got paired up. We got the right kind of pairing for each other.
Okay.
And the producer was awesome. Saad Hayat was extremely he gave us a lot of freedom to do whatever we wanted. And then we had an incredible rhythm section that came in and turned the song into what it is right now. It's just really lovely, man. It's really lovely being able to, again, wake up and do your job. I love writing songs. I'm one of those people who's like exercising the songwriting muscle all the time. So I really appreciate like this last minute 2 हफ्ते हैं आपके पास, आपने 2 गाने लिखने हैं, उनमें से एक select होगा. तो वो 2 हफ्तों में जो आपका brain काम करता है ना, वो it's a completely, you get into a different zone, you get into a different focus. And I think that focus is a privilege, so I super enjoyed it.
Great.
And like it's a fun song and singing it and all that. I went to sleep dancing. I went to sleep dancing.
I still have to listen to it. I'm gonna do that right after the talking to you. और मुझे बताओ कि when you're writing, is there a writer's block कभी हो जाए, you're like, oh God, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. Does that ever happen? And you have a deadline to meet and you want to put it out there.
होता है और so I'm usually really good with deadlines, but if I do get a place where I get stuck, I go into like 3 weeks of existential crisis.
Okay.
I mean, knowing me is to know my existential crisis.
Okay.
Because it'll always be ever present in the front of my mind. Like, why am I not able to unlock this mystery?
My God.
I think, again, exercising that muscle constantly and knowing that being stuck, I think is also, I don't know about other artists, I think it's a very painful but prevalent part of my work.
Okay.
Because sometimes, like Rakib was a 15-minute write. Hum Bhage was a 15-minute write.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some songs just come, like, that's what I believe about music. I believe music is like flying in the air. Like, songs are like ever present. I
and
think
you just catch them.
आपने बस उनको पकड़ना होता है और वो that connection is if you're unable to meet that connection, I feel like that's the only time where I feel blocked per se.
Okay.
And then my aim is to just study myself and figure out why I'm disconnected from myself and why I'm disconnected from the universe. And I think the minute you sort that out, it sort of becomes easy. Also, I mean, studying music is a huge help. So when it comes to client work, I did the 1 Billion Rising song this year, and it was supposed to be a direct translation of an English song into Urdu.
Okay.
मैंने उसकी 3 compositions बनाई थी.
Okay.
एक भी मुश्किल से बनती है लोगों से. मैंने उसकी 3 फर्क compositions completely बनाई थी, and I chose what I felt like represented the song the best. So for me, it's like a game. It's a game. It's a puzzle. I have to solve it. Some puzzles are harder to solve. Some puzzles are easier. Every time I've been stuck, I've also realized that I have completely something new to learn that I haven't learned yet.
Okay.
तो फिर मैं उस पे 3-4 हफ्ते लगा देती हूँ कि ये मुझसे इसलिए नहीं बन रहा क्योंकि मुझे इस तरह की प्रोडक्शन नहीं आती, मुझे इस तरह की सॉन्ग राइटिंग नहीं आती. तो सीख लो क्या मतलब आप मैं वो मैट्रिक्स देखी है आपने?
हाँ.
वो like I believe, especially with like YouTube and like the internet and all this knowledge being available, for me it's just like plug, download. Okay, let's
Sink it all in and then put it out there. Okay. I wanted to go back to your early years. You started as a RJ. किया.
I
And
did.
tell me something about that. And how did you get into that? And वहीं से ज़्यादा म्यूज़िक सुन के म्यूज़िक एक्साइटमेंट स्टार्ट हो रही थी या वो तो खैर यू सेइंग कि 4 साल से गा रही थी.
हाँ नहीं, RJ happened. I have a flair for presentation. I have a flair for talking to people and being social. So I started RJing purely because it was fun. Little unknown fact, I was the marketing executive at City FM 89 for like 2 years after school. Before I went to college, after my A levels, I was
कितना
working.
कुछ कर लिया तुमने.
It's been a fun life. I used to do marketing for them. And in the middle of that, I was like, I'm just going to cut a demo as an RJ and see where that goes. And I ended up doing a show for the next 5 years at 89. And I honestly, literally only quit because I went to college.
Okay.
फिर मैं जब वापस आई, then I just had a completely different focus. And I really wanted to pay attention to music for, just for that, for a really long time. And now I'm in a place where now I work with PDV. Actually, I do a morning show.
Oh, right.
I do a music segment on a morning show every Tuesday on Rising Pakistan. So I'm back into presentation. I just love... I love curating work. I love curating other people's music. I love listening to music. I love presenting music. I love talking about it. I love thinking about it. I love sleeping on it. I love dancing on it. I just love music. So give me any reason to enjoy it and I'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. So वही वाली बात है कि अभी जैसे you said you were in your bubble, you don't want to say, but being an RJ, being out there talking to the world, you're sitting in your own bubble, but you are connected to such a wider audience through your music, through your talking to them through radio. So that's great because kahin na kahin you are connecting with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, even songwriting and singing to me is like a communication tool.
Yeah.
शुरू में बहुत होता था मुझे कि जैसे like my mom was a painter.
Okay.
So शुरू में बिल्कुल शुरू में मुझे लगता था कि हम जब गाने लिखते हैं तो हम भी पेंटिंग बना रहे हैं या हम भी एक पीस ऑफ आर्ट बना रहे हैं, जो अभी भी सच है, वो झूठ नहीं है. लेकिन बाद में थोड़ा सा मुझे मेरी थिंकिंग और फीलिंग थोड़ी ऑल्टर होनी शुरू हुई that I'm talking to people.
Okay.
Through music, I am talking to people.
Yeah.
And that is a completely different avenue. That is a completely different person. That is a completely different impact that you're having on people. Initially, I used to write music only to console myself. Like if I had a bad day, if I had a hard month or phase, I would write about it and it would just ease me. Then I started seeing that it would ease other people also. And I said, इससे बेहतर क्या हो सकता है कि आप अपना भी दुख प्लेकेट कर रहे हैं, आप किसी और का भी तो प्लेकेट कर रहे हैं, इससे बेहतर तो नहीं हो सकती कोई चीज़.
Okay.
And when I started looking at music as a communication tool, I think I just started seeing a lot of things that I would not have said other than to myself. But I love connecting with people through music, and I love the response that I get when I get these messages about people going through a tough time and listening to one of my songs to get through it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the purpose of it all. I remember बिल्कुल शुरू में जब मैं गाने सुनती थी और सब कहते थे तुम क्यों बनना चाहती हो musician? कहती हूँ I want to make someone feel the way that musician made me feel.
Yeah.
So it's really that.
Because गानों पे यही होता है कि जैसे as you said कि somebody connected with it and किसी ने इतनी उसको thought process दी, किसी ने उसको गहराई में सुना, किसी ने उस emotion पे आए, कहीं connect हुई तार के कि oh this is what Natasha was thinking, this is what I'm going through. Because most of the time you don't listen to the lyrics, you just tune आ रही है, वो आ रही है, then कभी आप बहुत अपने zone में बैठे हो like oh God ये मैंने 50वां गाना सुना है, आज मुझे समझ आई है इसका मतलब क्या है, This happens.
Absolutely.
And the people like you who write them, उनकी क्या thought process हो रही होगी and all that. There's so much deep thought into it.
It's really just, I think the most genuine connection is made when you tell your truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
आप अपनी
connect to it.
बिल्कुल. आप अपनी सच्चाई बयान करें तो वो किसी की सच्चाई मतलब चाहे वो किसी और की सच्चाई भी ना हो, लेकिन वो ये आई थिंक इंसानी कैफियत है कि आप बहुत आसानी से देख सकते हैं कि कौन जो बात कर रहा है या क्या बात हुई है. वो कनेक्शन बहुत ही बेसिक है इंसानों
कि
में.
ऊपर से तो अच्छा ये हंस रहे हैं मगर अंदर से ओके ये अच्छा नताशा भी ऐसे अच्छा फरा ने भी ऐसे ही सोचा है
हाँ.
so they'll be like okay so we're also normal we're
Exactly,
also okay
exactly.
it's okay to be sad and it's okay to have those feelings.
Exactly. And biggest lesson, 2020,
people-
biggest lesson of 2020 is that it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be vulnerable.
2020
And it's also okay to just wanna, like throw it all the window and have a good time also.
Yeah.
Like, like there's so many facets to being a human. And I think if there's anything that I'm trying to do through my music is hopefully by the time, until I'm alive, मुझे बस अल्लाह मियाँ ये नवाजता जाए कि मैं इंसानियत की हर कैफियत को किसी ना किसी तरह पढ़ के उसको शेयर कर लूँ तो आई थिंक मेरा सबसे बड़ा काम यही होगा.
okay.
Because हम खुश भी हैं, हम उदास भी हैं, हम सब कुछ हैं यार. हम पूरी कायनात हमारे अंदर है और हम पूरी कायनात हैं. तो उसमें तो मतलब आप अपने आप को एक्सप्लोर करते रहो तो आपको टाइम नहीं मिलता. इसलिए मैं बबल में रहती हूँ. मुझे वक्त नहीं मिलता लोगों की चर्चा पढ़ने का और सुनने का. अभी मुझे नहीं पता कि इसका अभी तक तो बिस्कोनी का बहुत अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स आया है. बट आई एम लाइक फुली प्रेप्ड फॉर लाइक द हेट कमेंट्स. I'm fully prepped for like, oh, this is totally a cover or like a copy of that song, and I'm really looking forward to be like, yes, I wrote this song at like 3 in the morning on a Zoom conversation. Please tell me how I copied it off somebody. Please. But I'm fully prepped for it because like, you don't have time for it. I want to just
वो कुछ लोग होते हैं जो बैठे होते हैं इस ताक में कि कब किसकी
वो
कैसे
भी एक ह्यूमन कंडीशन है. उसको भी मैं पढ़ूंगी, उसके बारे में भी गाना लिखूंगी.
कसम से यार. It's like, oh lord. Okay, so have you mentored younger gen? मतलब कि has anybody come up to you कि यार please हमें ये सिखाएं and all that? Are you looking into that?
बिल्कुल. मैं 12 साल से पढ़ा रही हूँ.
Okay.
मैंने अपना सॉन्ग राइटिंग, सिंगिंग, परफॉर्मेंस करियर, एजुकेशन करियर के साथ शुरू किया.
Okay.
So I've been teaching. Actually, I started teaching even before I left for college.
All right.
My job after 89 was at a school.
Okay.
As a co-curriculars coordinator.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the idea of education, with the idea of sharing knowledge and allowing children and the youth to just giving them a space as a person. I think it's a huge. Growing up, like for me, if I found a teacher who I could connect with, who would understand me, who would sit and listen to me, who would see through me and know that there's a deep vested talent inside me and they want to take it out.
Yeah.
I had some teachers like that and it was very inspiring. And I love playing that role for other people growing up. When I was born in 88. And music education was very limited. Arts education was very limited. It still is to a large degree, except now we have YouTube and we have the internet, so there's all sorts of ways to learn. But I think I was around 19, 20 when I was like, this is not happening. I am not allowing any other child to go through what I went through. मेरी अम्मा ने, God bless her, इतनी मुश्किलों से मुझे क्लासेस ढूंढ के दिलवाई थी और इतनी मुश्किल से ये सारे काम करवा के दिए थे कि मैंने कहा कि ये बाकियों के लिए मसला नहीं होना चाहिए. तो अभी तक मैं कोविड के ड्यूरिंग आई स्टार्टेड ज़ूम क्लासेस. उससे पहले मैं प्राइवेट इंस्ट्रक्शन करती थी, फेस टू फेस. आई डू वर्कशॉप्स. I actually I've also for many years with a partner of mine in Islamabad we've started a theater troupe called Incident Nights.
Okay.
And we've been present for I don't know, maybe 11 years. And there's a lot of actors that we've trained. There's a lot of writers that we've trained. We used to put up regular shows, basically.
Okay.
There used to be variety shows. So the concept used to be, we used to get writers to write original content.
Okay.
And we would direct actors who wanted
So
to do shows.
It's a theater.
It's theatrical.
Okay.
And apart from that, I also find that for instance, Gintara is a band that I started about a year and a half ago, which is an all vocal ensemble.
All right.
And this incidentally happened when I moved back to Islamabad. मैं कराची में होती थी.
अच्छा पहले आप कराची.
मैंने 4-5 साल इधर ही गुजारे हैं. फिर मैं इस्लामाबाद गई. 2 साल वहाँ जब मैं रही तो मुझे अपने वो सारे दोस्त मिल गए जो बहुत अच्छा गाते थे. But a lot of these singers didn't have a career in music or hadn't made this step. So the first year was all training them and to get to a zone where we're doing regular rehearsals and we know what it means to take a song and rearrange it. And then mashallah, touch wood, we started getting booked for really amazing gigs. Like we actually worked with Asadul Haq. The first time I worked with Asadul Haq was through Gintara for this ad that he did. वो जो टेलेनोर का ad उन्होंने किया था तो that's me in the band.
All right. Okay.
And so yeah, that was also like for the first year that was a huge mentorship sort of process because not only, I mean, there were great singers. I didn't need to train them how to sing, but there's so many things other than just singing and performing that comes with doing a career in music. So a lot of that was, getting them comfortable behind the camera.
Yes.
In front of the camera, getting them like comfortable in front of new producers. I mean, in our first year, we worked with Shuja Haider, Hania Aslam, and Asadul Haq and Samad Ghafoor. So it's been incredible in that regard that, we now get into a room with amazing producers and like 3 दिन के अंदर हमने गाना शुरू से आखिर ख़त्म किया हुआ होता है.
Okay.
तो मेरी जो ये ट्रेनिंग और मेंटरशिप और ये वाला सिलसिला है वो पैरेलल मेरी ज़िंदगी हमेशा चलेगी.
That's great because it's always जितना आप जानते हो खुद you just need to give it out.
मतलब वो ये ना forever student हूँ ना मैं. तो आप the amount you learn just because you're teaching, because you can't get it wrong. You're responsible for someone else's education, so you have to be really, really on point. Which is why I also have a singing teacher who works with me regularly, Ejaz, Mohammed Ejaz Saab, who just did the Coke Studio song. So like मैं सीखती रहती हूँ और फिर मैं आगे सिखाती रहती हूँ. मैं सीखती रहती हूँ और मैं आगे सिखाती रहती हूँ. बड़ी अच्छी ज़िंदगी है.
So सीखने का process ही ऐसा ना. It's like every day it's a new day, it's a new learning, it's a day. Okay, so new day, new learning. से मुझे ये बताओ जब पूरे शुरू में जब when we started off and you started off with a song, what was the name of that song?
That's called Here to जो हमने गाया था.
हाँ, जो गाया था. हम भागे. और अब I wanted to listen to Here to Stay.
Here to Stay.
And उसके बारे में maybe we listen to it first or you talk to it because that's some different connect you have with that song.
Yeah, I'll just grab the guitar and maybe we'll do
yes, please.
a little talk through
and
the
we'll
song.
wrap it up on that also. कितनी सारी wider बातें की हमने. अब हम इसके बारे में you're gonna tell me about the song first?
Yeah,
or you
I think we'll talk about it साथ-साथ.
ठीक है.
एक ज़माना था 2017 में जब मैंने basically like full move किया, इस्लामाबाद से कराची आ गई, अपने लिए घर ले लिया, वहाँ पे स्टूडियो सेटअप करना शुरू कर दिया. और जिस दिन मैंने रिलीज साइन की थी उस दिन my mother got diagnosed with breast cancer. So it was a really interesting time for me where I had literally stepped into what I at the time thought was, okay, Natasha, now like it's just you. Because initially in my career I thought that empowerment and like support and like success comes from like other people supporting you and other people like giving you a chance to do what it is that you do. Until I learned, I was like, it's pretty much just you giving yourself the chance over and over again in like all shapes and forms. And I think the people, the ones of us that are lucky enough to like, अब हर लड़की की कहानी नहीं हो सकती कि वो शहर मूव करे, अकेला घर ले, रेंट दे, वहाँ पे स्टूडियो सेटअप करे, ये सब की प्रिविलेज नहीं होती. तो वो जब वो साथ पैरेलल में चल रहा था सब कुछ, I was, when you have such an incredible crisis at home, which is that your parent is heavily sick, and my mom had stage 4, that's where she was diagnosed, and it's very difficult to help her or save her through any of that. So you have very few hours in the day to really get out of that zone, because cancer is like a 24/7 job. You have to be on point all the time. 2-3 घंटे जो मुझे मिलते थे, उसमें मैंने फिर लिखना शुरू किया, and I wasn't necessarily thinking about mom, but I think eventually when I got back to some of the music I wrote, my mind was there, and I recorded the song incidentally. इसका एक completely different version पड़ा हुआ है मेरे laptop में, which is like piano and full jazz. And then my mom was still alive at the time, and I was in Lahore, and Rescue the Frog called, which is like a studio in Lahore. They do like live sessions with Mosiki. They called and they're like, do you have any tracks that you'd like to do with us? And I don't know why, I was like, okay, let's just do this one. और मैं like घंटे में मैंने जाके वो recording complete की थी उनके साथ, और वो हो गया गाना complete, वो recording हो गई. मुझे नहीं पता था कि वो कब निकलेगा. अम्मी की फौतगी से 1 महीने बाद वो निकला है. और मुझे तब उस गाने का फुल सर्कल समझ आया कि ये, और मैंने कहा था ना, like a lot of my songs are consolations to myself. Like I think I have this weird habit of like predicting my future through my own music. Like I wrote this song at a time where my mom was still alive and we still thought that we could help and like get through it, but then by the time the song came out, I'd lost her. And once I heard the song after I'd lost her, I was like, oh, this is another consolation song, Natasha, to yourself.
Oh, that's
So this is called Here to Stay.
Oh, and Here to Stay.
Yeah. Just like my mother, I tried to keep you out. Just like my mother, I tried to keep you out. Just like my mother, I tried to keep you at bay. Just like my mother, I tried to feel a different way. To keep my clothes at heart and these friends to stay. To keep this love that's fallen apart, to try and save. Just like my mother, she tried time and again to say, don't you worry, my child, I'm here to stay. Keep my clothes at heart and these friends to stay. To keep this love that's fallen apart, to try and say. Just like my mother, she tried time and again to say, don't worry, my child, I'm here to stay. Don't you worry, my child, I'm here to stay. Don't you worry, my child, I'm here to stay. Maybe our parents are trying to say this to us all
Oh,
the time.
Lord. Actually, yeah.
They really do stay with us.
And we also cling on to them. Yeah.
I mean, once you lose your parents, you realize that every neurological, every thought connection, every cell firing in your body to make the decisions that you make are born with your parents.
Yeah,
You know, it was after, now mashallah, alhamdulillah, it's just the four of us, and both my parents are with Allah Mia, and I hope they're having a good time up there.
They're in a better space.
They're in a better place than this world. I can
Yeah.
tell you, I was not worried about my parents during COVID.
Oh,
ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी नेमत
seriously,
है.
I
मतलब-
lost my dad right before the COVID started. Like, actually, just the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, God, and seriously, the thought of this right now, like, we're just taking care of mom, you know, you know, ये ना करें, वो ना करें, वो ना करें. We're like, okay, we're taking care of one, not two.
हाँ.
Because parents don't even listen, you know.
Yeah, they really don't.
They're
They're
just
just
बेटा हमने वुज़ू कर लिया, हमने नमाज पढ़ ली, हमने ये कर लिया, हम
okay, bye.
हम
Going
किसी को
to my
हाथ नहीं
tea
लगा.
party. Bye.
मैं बस कमेटी से पार्टी से होकर आ रही हूँ, you know, and they're like, मम्मी प्लीज नहीं बस वहाँ तक जाना है, एक कपड़ा खरीदना है. Like, oh Lord, नहीं मैं स्प्रे कर लूँगी. So yeah, on a lighter note,
On a
coming
lighter
to
note,
this,
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing these deep stories with us.
Thank you for having
And
me.
I see there's so much more inside you, जो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता हम फिर कभी बात करेंगे और निकालेंगे. And
Absolutely.
but there's so much, and you really inspired me today with that 24-hour thing वाली. So मेरा कल से दिन 2021 कैसे start होता है?
24 घंटे गाइस, 24 घंटे होते हैं आपके पास. सिर्फ ये जो 5 साल की 10 साल के प्लान्स आप बना के बैठे हुए होते हैं ना, ये वैसे अल्लाह के हाथ में.
Yes, definitely.
कुछ नहीं कर सकते आप. सिर्फ आप अपना दिन गुजार सकते हैं.
दिन गुजार सकते हैं. So हम अपना दिन गुजारते हैं और आप लोग भी गुजारें. And thank you so much, Natasha, for
Thank you. This was
time
awesome.
at Black Box Demo Music Room, and we're gonna hear you over here very soon.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye guys.